Brain on Air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
אתם מקשיבים למוח שלכם בשידור. התוכנית תתחיל בקרוב. תהנו.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Brain on Air. I'm your host, Ollie Vogt Larson, and I am a certified mortician, but only in the province of New South Wales, Australia. The news is hot off the press, and I am home on a Tuesday with nothing better to do but inform you folks. So guess what? I think we should just stop lollygagging, and I think we should hop into our first news story, because guess what, guys? War is over. Energy is sweeping the nation. Everybody loves not Elton John. The fuck am I saying? John Lennon. Everybody loves that song. War is over. Energy, it's sweeping Gaza as peace deal continues and trade of hostages successfully continues. Guys, this is actually pretty decent. You know, when Trump was he was addressing the Knesset, as he pronounces it. He was addressing the Israeli Knesset, and he was like, guys, this is the dawn of a new Middle East. What's it called? We're diving into the details of this historic deal, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of details that I know haven't been made fully public yet. There's a lot of things that are just up in the air. A lot of people, they're not clear on the details. I've noticed that a lot of people, when they talk about this deal, they haven't talked about the actual details, the actual, you know, the meat and the potatoes, as old people and me like to say about stuff. So I think we should listen to Trump's address to the Israeli parliament. Let's listen to it right now. Go ahead, you golden goddess, you beautiful. Look at him. Look at this. His throat pussy that he normally has is like, I think he might have gotten the Biden throat lift. You guys remember when Biden was Obama's vice president and he had just this insane turkey gizzard, and then we all saw him running in 2019 and it was like just vacuum sealed back. You could see his muscle because it was so tight to his skin. Not to say he didn't look snatched. The guy did, and he served cunt those last few years, but admittedly, oh my God, guys. I don't know if you guys remember how bad those last few years for him were, but she's Louise. When he was like, you know what I mean? Like, I have a real fear in my heart that because of the Bohemian Grove shit, the fact that there's no women allowed, the fact that there's nothing Kamala was never allowed to those meetings, you know what I mean? I have a fear in my heart we're never going to have a female president because they're not allowed at those meetings, you know what I mean? I have a genuine fear that because Biden is so old and because he was, like, as we saw, very sick, on the verge of death a lot of instances, I fear that there were times that he was like Frankenstein's monster. He was an actual corpse one morning. They threw him on a thing, on like one of those walk things, and then they grabbed him and they rushed him into the room and they're like, hey, oh my God, it happened again, third time this month, we can't let this, listen, but you know how mad Moloch the owl god will be with us if we let a woman become president. So they hooked him up with, like, they put the bolts in his neck, they shot him up with, what's it called? What's the shit that Captain America got that made him like super, you know what I mean? Just like, and then Biden came out and still performed, poorly, you know what I mean? But they were so terrified of the idea of Kamala becoming president, they wouldn't let him die. Guys, that cancer metastasized to his bones. That means that it was in his body for years. Okay, anyways, this is diverting severely from the original topic. Anyways, I was complimenting Trump's probable neck surgery because it looks like his throat is tighter than usual. Anyways, let's hear his claims about the Middle East. This is the dawn of the new Middle East.
After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious.
It is glorious.
28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region
at peace.
that will live, God willing,
God willing.
Peace for all eternity. This is not
All right.
only the end of a war. This is the end of the age of terror and death, and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God.
End of God.
The start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region.
Magnificent region. Listen, not to say the region is not magnificent now. Like, there's bits and pieces in the Middle East. You walk around, it's like Japan. It's very clean, it's orderly and whatnot. It'll impress you. It's not all, like... the image that we all have been served of Saudi Arabia, the Middle East in general... It's dated, I would say. A lot of people haven't been showing their kids much besides Aladdin the last 30-odd years, you know what I mean? So our image is a little behind. Like they got towering skyscrapers, they have Lambos. Honestly, most Lamborghinis are in the Middle East anyways. They're sitting on rich oil deposits. Like, they don't... I'm going to be honest with you. They have quite a bit to their name. You know what I mean? They're contending with us to be like a metropolitan area. That's why they did the Riyadh Comedy Festival, where they tried to, like, they got Bill Burr, they got Tom Segura, they got a bunch of people that ended up showing up and, like, whitewashing the regime, making it look good. You know what I mean? Even though they like, bone saw journalists, all of those things, they imprison comedians and whatnot. Whatever, it's fine. As long as they're Western people, they have nothing to fear. You know what I mean? Bill Burr, this fucking idiot, is sitting on stage with Conan O'Brien going like, and they laughed at my joke, and like, and they didn't kill me, and like, that's just crazy. It's like, oh my god, yeah, of course, because you were protected by the fact that you're an American. You were being paid by fucking, what's it called, the administrator of entertainment in their country to come here and make their regime look great. Of course they didn't kill you. So yeah, you could get away with a little bit more because you were a wealthy foreigner, a white guy. I'm sorry to drop it. Yeah, you were a white guy going into their country who could get away with a little more than their native residents could. Why do you think when in Qatar in 2022, when they were hosting the World Cup, gay people were perfectly fine in the hotels and whatnot, but gay people that were in their own country could still be getting the death penalty or getting thrown in prison for it? What kind of fairness is that, you guys? What level of fairness is that? And then when pressed about it, the administrator for that whole event goes like, maybe they should just not engage in that activity when they're here. It's like, Jesus Christ. Okay, great defense. Anyway, let's dive into the details. Signed just days ago on October 9th, 2025, this agreement, brokered with heavy involvement from U.S. President Donald Trump alongside leaders from Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, marks a potential end for 2 years of brutal conflict between Israel and Hamas that we've been forced to hear about, like in Timothy Chalamet sketches on SNL. We've been forced to hear about it from your most annoying friend who's not actually involved in it, who doesn't know anybody from the region, who just goes to college and likes to cause a ruckus, whether or not they are the person that, likes to camp with a Palestinian flag, or if they are what's it called? Like, genuine Arab haters. You know what I mean? It's like, there's radicals on either side. Let's break down the timeline, though. The deal kicked off with an immediate ceasefire declaration at noon Cairo time on October 9th. Israel's security cabinet and government gave their approvals later that day within 24 hours. The Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, began a partial withdrawal. The IDF, by the way, people don't realize every citizen of Israel needs to serve in that. It's mandatory service. That's where Gal Gadot, Miss Wonder Woman, Kal-El, no, she learned how to, she was Wonder Woman in the Israeli Defense Force there. You know what I mean? Anyways. They gave their approvals for that withdrawal, redeploying what was called the Yellow Line, retaining control over about 53 to 70% of Gaza's territory, including strategic areas. This set like a 72-hour clock for Hamas to start releasing the hostages. The hostage and prisoner swap then was the deal's centerpiece, essentially, and the major success story by far has been that. By October 13th, Hamas had released all 20 remaining living Israeli hostages in one go. ago, allowing emotional reunions with families. In exchange, Israel freed nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and detainees, including about 1,700 Gazans arrested since October 2023 and 250 serving life sentences. President Trump, who visited Israel on October 12th and addressed the Knesset the next day, hailed this breakthrough, emphasizing that the U.S. pressure helped seal the deal without delays. Listen, you got to give Trump the president credit for one thing. I understand that we can give him shit for a lot. We can give him shit for his rhetoric. We can give him shit for not leaving office his first term. And we can give him shit for the probable, bullshit that he's going to stir up near the end of this next term at 2028. Not saying that we're not going to have an election, because those are ridiculous claims, and that's only going to stir the pot to claim 2028's not going to happen. It's over. Oh, you're only going to fucking cause more assassinations, you prick. Anyways, just a fact. Sorry, guys. You know what I mean? You have to give Trump credit for one thing. Who is the president out of the last, I don't know, 4, 5 to broker actual peace within the Middle East? You have to give him credit for that. You have to give him decent credit for that. Admittedly, he was not the friendliest president to Israel. A lot of people like to claim that Obama was the worst president for Israel. He armed them severely. He was one of the most friendly to them in the entirety of our history of presidents, except for maybe I would say Truman. I don't know. His sympathies to Israel are comparable. But Obama was a major sympathizer to Israel, but he never got major peace deals done. He resulted in the what's it called, the rise of ISIS. He did kill bin Laden and whatnot. He had major successes, but admittedly he had some major fails. But this, Jared Kushner, whether it's him you give him credit for, whether it's his administrators, whether it's the people below him, Trump's administration found a way to actually get some shit done. You got to give him credit for... Listen, otherwise, how will he ever do anything good if you do not give him credit for when he does something good? That's all I'm going to say. If that's not Trump hate enough for you, I'm sorry. I gotta be honest, and I have to be true to what my heart is telling me. And my heart is telling me we gotta give some credit where credit is due. Otherwise, what the fuck are we even doing? Why are we electing people to represent us as a nation if we can't get behind any of their actions whatsoever? You know what I mean? Whatever. If Nick Fuentes can say that Biden canceling how debt shows up on your credit was good for him, and how that admittedly, how Trump's administration has fucked over people like him more than Biden's did, if he can be more honest about this than you guys can, if Nick Fuentes, can be more honest, and I can be more honest about Trump's administration than anyone else can, what does that say about your discourse? Anyways, on the ground, the ceasefire appears to be sticking. Aid convoys carrying food, medicine, and supplies have started entering Gaza, helping the displaced Palestinians return to the northern areas amid the IDF's pullback from over half of the Strip. Gazans have been trekking back to their ruined homes, signaling a tentative return to normalcy. However, it's not without its hiccups. Reports emerged yesterday of Israeli forces killing 5 Palestinians in Gaza City, because, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. An Israeli's going to Israeli sometimes. Not all Israelis, but an IDF soldier is going to IDF soldier. That's a better way to say it. Underscoring fragile tensions. I'm kidding. Guys, listen. If we're going to make cop jokes about how they see black people and they instantly reach for their gun, if we're going to make jokes like that because they're kind of true sometimes, we can joke about IDF soldiers looking at babies as ingredients to Campbell's tomato soup. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's jokes. It's a joke. Looking ahead, the deal's next phase is focusing on disarming Hamas with further IDF withdrawals, potentially leading to demilitarized Gaza, either through diplomacy or force. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has called a near-total victory, crediting military and diplomatic pressure for forcing Hamas's hand. While not everyone agrees with this complete win, some critics note Hamas still controls parts of Gaza, and the release of all the hostages without a full Israeli exit is unprecedented. As Trump put it, this creates conditions for lasting peace though history reminds us that these deals can be tested. Listen, guys, it's the Middle East. We know that with peace deals and things like that, things like these can only be a matter of time. I'm not trying to be ominous. I'm not trying to be like that. That's just the full picture of the ceasefire so far. It's a fragile but hopeful step forward after years of devastation. We'll keep you updated as more develops. Just stay tuned for that. Actually, guys, this is a great time for our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, times of peace and prosperity are times for real investors and smart folks to eye their next major money play. While Gazans are breaking bread again because they can afford to make it, and rich maniacs, they're being forced to starve in their mansions. Let's be real here. Long Island residents in the Hamptons are being harmed. Let's be real, history has a funny way of repeating itself, doesn't it? It's peace day today, then tomorrow your country discovers natural gas deposits in the Middle East or East Asia. That's why smart nations and investors turn to Raytheon. And folks, make sure you're prepared for whatever peace throws your way. Our precision-guided munitions, advanced radar systems, and state-of-the-art defense tech aren't just tools, they're peace insurance, because when diplomacy takes a coffee break, Raytheon steps in to keep the skies safe and bad guys at bay. Raytheon is a leading provider of homeless people vaporizers, California wildfire starters, and is honestly, guys, this amazes me, is Israeli tested and approved. What? That's awesome. Don't wait for the next headline to catch you off guard. Stock up on the best in aerospace and defense innovation today. Go to Raytheon.com and enter promo code ONAIR for 50% off your first false flag operation. That's Raytheon.com and enter promo code ONAIR for major discounts. Don't wait! Raytheon, it's only a matter of time before you need us again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our second story. California-based startup proposing underground nuclear reactors for AI workloads in Kansas. What? Kansas? This is interesting. I mean, okay. Deep underground nuclear reactors? This is very Texan. You know what I mean? Having the college with the nuclear reactor under the building. A California startup, Deep Fission, is making waves with plans to build a small nuclear reactor that is a mile underground in Kansas to power AI data centers. Here's the rundown and on this bold, clean energy move. Listen, guys. I want to be honest with you. If your friends who are deep into the green movement are totally not for like nuclear energy, they're like, no, it's evil 100% and it's going to kill us. They are not taking the eco debate actually seriously. They aren't considering the fact that it's one of the cleanest ways that we have to provide energy. It's one of the most energy export, like whatever it's called, output. It doesn't have very much output. That's comparable to coal, comparable to all of our other alternatives. Solar, yes, sure, you can pursue it in certain degrees. But AI, let's be real, guys, it requires a lot of shit, and we can't keep draining rivers. I'm going to be honest with you, I like the Mississippi. The Red River's fine. It's brown, and you don't want to swim in it, but it's nice, when it freezes over. I'm just trying to say that these people need to find new ways to power their data centers. And besides, I don't know, like an old school, like we have the children go back to the work on the wheels and we whip them so that they just keep walking in a circle to power big gears in like a clock tower to power these fucking data centers. It's either that or we start investing in nuclear reactors underneath your guys' like homes. I'm sorry. Maybe the water is going to start glowing. Maybe your hair is going to start falling out. Your kids are going to like their faces aren't going to look right. And your husband, his teeth are going to fall out. But like, guys, we have to power ChatGPT. You have to understand that your family's health, we already poisoned you with 3M and you didn't mind that. You didn't mind when we poisoned you with PFAS. You didn't mind when we did all of that shit. Let us poison you with the radioactive shit underneath your homes. Deep Fission, I don't know what this is, and neither you guys don't know what this is. We don't know who Liz Muller is and physics professor Richard Muller. These people, they founded a company, Deep Fission, in 2023. It uses proven reactor tech in compact 15-megawatt modules lowered into 30-inch wide boreholes. Drilled into a stable in Kansas bedrock, these reactors heat water into steam, powering turbines with zero-carbon electricity at 5 to 7 cents per kilowatt hour, cheaper than most alternatives. Kansas was picked for its ideal geology, with sites also planned in Texas and Utah. Very interesting. You want to go harass Hank Hill and the Mormons with this? Very, very interesting choices. The big push came in January 2025 with partnership to supply 2 gigawatts for Endeavor Energy's AI data centers. Deep Fission's $30 million funding in September 2025 supports a pilot under the DOE's reactor pilot program, aiming for operations by 2029. Their 40-plus patents ensure safety. Rocks shield the reactor, essentially, like the actual ground around it, and issues can be sealed off instantly, according to them. You know, that's cool. This is exactly where Superman took place, Kansas. This is where Smallville was. This is probably, guys, if we get real metahumans from this, be happy. I'm just going to be honest. Clark Kent, he's not going to look normal. This is going to be more Toxic Avenger than James Gunn's Superman, but it's not the shit new Toxic Avenger with, like, Peter Dinklage. They did the nice thing where they donated to, like, people who were in debt. That was cool, but I don't know about the movie itself, and the original Toxic Avenger itself isn't good, but it's like... Anyways, they're in talks with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission targeting licenses by 2026. Critics question scaling and local acceptance, but with AI's energy demand soaring and deep fission's discrete, low-cost nuclear solution it's all turning heads. Guys, all right, so I'm going to be real with you. We've had issues with these data centers, how they're powered, all of that. If you haven't heard about the noise issues that are just like profound, there's like a few documentaries out there. I think the main one I saw was from Vox Media. Generally, I don't trust Vox Media. Like, I know that they're like, what's it called? They're like, I don't know what's it called. Like, documentaries about like where lean comes from and like the best street artist in LA or something like that. It's bullshit headlines, like just slop to fill the cultural landscape. I'm not a fan of it. Anyways, I've seen this recent documentary, and it's about the noise pollution that people in Ohio and regions of Dayton specifically. This is where my fiance's family exists. You know what I mean? Those Cincinnati, Dayton, the big metropolitan areas. They thankfully do not live near any of these data centers. But I'm terrified of the idea of them either having to deal with them or the data centers moving up here, because Minnesota actually is starting to become home to a few of them. The amount of people that you will see where they're like, I can't sleep at night. There's genuine, my children, they'll have nightmares. There's humming. It's like it's like an old horror movie. I'm not even gonna lie. We're living in a dystopia slowly. We're starting to become more like I'm not even joking. Starting to become a little bit more like China. A humming in the background of perpetual commands, government oversight, not even government, it's corporate oversight. Eventually corporate and government are going to be just merged, because this oligarchian kind of style of they appeal to whatever administration's in power, and then like people just like take commands from the government, but the government is also being paid off by people, and you know what I mean? It's just like China is going to be linked with eventually capitalism and communism. They don't mean anything anymore, because it's just a system where people above you tell you what to do, and then they you make their latte or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like it's a system of commands, no matter what system you think it is: socialism, communism, capitalism. It's all systems where you're just designed to be fucked over. Admittedly, capitalism has a history of treating people better. Admittedly, capitalism has a history of more opportunity, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have nearly as bad of a history of being practiced in psychotic regimes. But like this hum that is driving people insane, that with these data centers, it will be the first sign. Guys, it will be in your backyard soon. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but this is just the headlines for today. Not I'm just telling you what is happening now. I'm not, don't come to me and be like, he was right. I have a chip in my head now, and like they have to play advertisements in my head, because it's like, listen, we will kill the nerves in your head that detect the sound of our AI data centers, but you gotta listen to an ad every 30 minutes from Spotify. It's like, I'm just telling you today's headlines, and then I'm looking into the future just a little bit for fun. Can I not do that? Am I allowed to do that? I might not even be here for that. I don't know what my legacy is. That's why I'm throwing these out on the internet, so that eventually these waves will carry my legacy for me. Anyways, guys, let's hop into the rapid fire section of today's headlines. One of my favorite sections. I gotta come up with like a theme song. If I have a theme song for the beginning, I know I've changed it up. I kind of like this Art Deco 20s vibe that I'm setting with it, but I had this kind of like Jamaican feel before, and then it was like, I'm trying to settle on a vibe. Tell me what is best. I'm just like gonna feel it. I might do like Mongolian throat singing next. I don't know. I'm just trying to feel a vibe. You know what I mean? Anyways, we're hopping into the rapid fire of the section. You know what I mean? This is going to be fun. These are today's headlines. Essentially, if you don't know what this section is, I hop on the mic and I spit at you the biggest things of today, essentially, that I could find. So let's go ahead and review. It's October 14th. You know what that means. The United States federal government remains shut down as House leadership refuses to negotiate. The shutdown has lingered on to its 14th day, you guys. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep the party rolling. Because guess what? They're not coming back until like October 20th. Because Mike Johnson, my dad, my lookalike, I understand. Oh my God, why was that so loud? Shut up, computer. Anyways, what's it called? This is just like another hop in the right direction for us. You know what I mean? We're just like, we're not paying workers. I've had testimony. I've had conversations with people who work at the courthouse. They're like, yeah, people are just calling in sick. You know what I mean? I'm not showing up if I'm not getting a check. And, you know what I mean? The furlough pay is not going to be great. So let's be real. You know what I think this is I love that Americans are taking it into their own hands. This is like when Starbucks goes on strike. This is like, I hope that this gets us somewhere. You know what I mean? I'm sorry if you wanted your license or if you wanted like a divorce anytime soon. That's not getting filed. You're going to have to live with that person for a little while longer. Just here's my recommendation. Go to a motel, take the kids, and preferably in another town. Do not close. Go to an ATM, withdraw as much money as you can, because he's going to freeze your bank accounts the moment he notices that you guys are gone. I'd suggest you do this in the middle of the night, preferably around 12 at night, in the AM. Give him a steady meal so that he sleeps very nicely, and then give him a whiskey, no ice. You're going to give him a whiskey, no ice. You're going to give him 1 spritz of spring water, and that's going to put him to bed beautifully. You're going to sneak out with your children, however many you have. You're going to make them bring a week's worth of clothing, but only enough that's going to fit in like a backpack, because you can't be carrying too much weight. You're going to go to an ATM with his cards. You're going to memorize all of his pins within the next week, because you got to memorize all of this. You got to watch behind his back. You got to do whatever in order to get out of the situation. I'm just saying that if this is for the divorce victim who needs to get out. Anyways, because the federal government isn't going to be helping you anytime soon. You know what I mean? Department of Human Services, Children's Help Services, all of this stuff, Child Protective Services. This isn't coming to help you anytime soon, so I'm here to help you. The IMF, next headline. I'm done with the advice. Run away, and I hope that you guys get on a train or something, or go to your mom's house. The IMF raised its global growth forecast for 2025 on expectations that tariffs will impact and be milder than fear. Tariffs' impact will be milder than feared, though it warned a renewed U.S.-China trade war could derail gains. Guys, like I said, the market's shaky. We're in a full-blown trade war. It's over. Like this fake kind of false, we're going to ignore the Uyghurs that you have in concentration camps, but we're going to get extra cheap, fursuits from you guys, because you guys sell them extra cheap. And then we're going to keep buying from you guys, and we're going to keep providing you guys we're the hungry Americans, and we like to buy from you guys. That's it. And you'll have these big booming cities on the coastlines, you know what I mean? Shaanxi, Fuzhou, all of that kind of stuff, Beijing. You're going to do all of that. You're going to have these major ports, and we're going to rot as a city. We're going to let Detroit fall. We're going to let major areas of industry, we're going to abandon them. We're not going to, we're going to go American jobs. These aren't American jobs. No one, Trump's crazy when he thinks he's going to bring back, Americans won't do these jobs. Americans aren't going to work in factories. They did, literally, for the last millennia. They literally did. They literally did that. Are you saying that immigrants are on a lower level and ergo are better to take those jobs better than Americans, that's a little sick. That's disgusting. Why would you say that? I'm just like, I think that Americans and immigrants are capable of doing the exact same jobs. Why do you think that only the immigrants are the ones that want to pick strawberries? I've met some perfectly willing Americans who are like applying to 30 jobs right now, who in this job market, they're like holding on pretty tightly. They're like, I don't know if we want to import anybody. The budget's getting tight. The market's not great. I don't know if we want to hire anybody. You know what I mean? Things are shaky, guys. Things are a little shaky. I don't know that now is the time for bold moves. I'm just saying that. Anyways, the International Maritime Organization is preparing a vote on a carbon emissions pricing scheme for large ships, pitting the U.S. against an EU-led coalition. Really interesting, you guys. You want to hear my take on carbon emissions? Plants are the real carbon capture technology. If you make your city green as hell, if you, greenify the streets, if you put out as many trees as possible, there is a with the carbon rate rising, it is true that the carbon rate is rising, the temperature is rising, the climate is changing. However, it does not take into account the fact that there is a worldwide greening effect happening. Look this up. This is actually a fact. This is a factual, true statement. In the rising carbon rates, as a result of the rising carbon rates, yes, ice caps are melting. Yes, all of this horrible shit is happening. But also, as a consequence of rising carbon rates, there are more green vegetation and likely more trees on Earth now than in all recent past. Largely due to human efforts like tree planting and whatnot, all of this, also carbon and whatnot. Excess carbon in your atmosphere can result in regreening of certain atmospheres, you know what I mean, previous arid landscapes becoming green again. But you can, you know what I mean? You see shifts in the climate. That's just kind of how the world works. I'm saying that obviously the man-made anthropological cause that we are seeing, the human side of it, we absolutely can do more and we should do more to regulate it. I think though that there's a wide area of conversation to have in regards to the climate. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. SpaceX conducted a test flight of its Starship mega rocket. It lasted an hour and ended in a splashdown in the Indian Ocean, seen as a critical step toward NASA's planned 2027 moon mission. Okay, guys. Okay, Elon, he's doing what he does. I'm not particularly fond of the fella. He can do what he does. You know what I mean? He certainly does what he do. And I'm just going to go, if you create net good for society, I'll take that. I'm going to reject the bad things that you do. But, that's it. That's how I feel, and that's how I feel most people feel. Anyways, I think that he's if he wants to go to Mars, I encourage that behavior, because guess what? It's somewhere we haven't been before. I think NASA doing this bullshit, guys, we're going to the moon again. Have you seen that stupid clip of the NASA astronauts? These dorks that are just like, it's a man, a woman, and another man, I'm pretty sure. Hold on a second. I'm going to just pull up the clip and we're going to review it for together. Let's do that. Me and you. Let's review.
I want to bridge. This is going to be an odd answer. It might land wrong, but I'm going to try anyway. This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome.
What?
We should, as humanity, take a brief moment to go.
What did you... Okay, that is Reed Wiseman. I want to make sure that I heard him properly. This is the first time we're sending humans to the moon?
This is the first time we're going to send humans to the moon, and we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit. That is awesome. We should, as humanity...
All right, listen. I don't want to be crazy, because I believe that we made it to the moon. Of course I do. You know what I mean? I think that it was a great national achievement. It defined us for that decade, and then I'd say even that century. I think I want to play nice. I think I'm going to take the kind interpretation of that. I think what he means is that this is the first time we're going to have humans in low Earth orbit at the same time that we have people on the moon. I'm going to take the charitable, non-conspiratorial interpretation of that, even though you obviously could if you wanted to be fun. But I'm gonna go ahead and not be fun because I think that would be a little conspiratorial, and I don't want to lean in that direction because I think that we made it to the moon. Just these nerds, you know what I mean? I think that it's a waste. If we've already been to the moon, by the way, guys, why are we going back? Because I'm gonna be real with you, this is the next Challenger. I'm predicting it right now. This will not 2027, the moon mission. There will be like a leak or something. I'm terrified about that. The idea that maybe this could be another, the teacher goes to space thing. You know what I mean? Just because we're trying. I do like the idea that we're doing more stuff, but go somewhere we haven't gone before. It's lame. It's dumb. I'm starting to believe Buzz Aldrin that we didn't even go. Anyways, a powerful storm, typhoon remnant battered western Alaska with one confirmed death and search and rescue operations underway in remote coastal communities. Guys, Alaska. I would love to live in Alaska with those remote coastal communities. It must feel like Maine just reversed. You know what I mean? The coastline is just the opposite direction. How cool is that? In Mexico, at least 64 people have died and many remain missing following flooding across 5 states due to heavy rains. Man, more once-in-a-century weather patterns. I like it. I think it's fun. Not for the people, but I didn't mean that I like it. What I meant to say was it's making for a lot to tell you in the headline section. That's what I meant to say, I think. China's imports surged in September. Soybean imports jumped 13% year over year, and total imports rose to 7.4%, signaling resilience amid global economic uncertainty. Guys, soybeans are the thing. If you want to invest in something, invest in soybeans. Soy boys ain't going away. I love soy milk. I will vouch to my death that soy milk is the best milk to have in your coffee. I think it is a natural sweetener. You don't need any sugar. Oat milk is too plain. Almond milk is, it's fine. Oat milk, you know what I mean? I already said that, damn it. Whatever. Soy milk is peak. Ordinary milk, it's too lardy. I don't like it. It doesn't fit the vibe for like a coffee shop. Anyways, 4 people were arrested in Mississippi following a mass shooting over the weekend that left 6 dead and 10 wounded. My goodness. Prayers for the victims. Prayers for the family. That is terrible, disgusting, and it's, I'm curious if we're going to have to look into that next episode, if they had a curious motive or not. Venezuela announced it will close its embassies in Norway and Australia as part of a reshuffle in diplomatic positionings amid tensions with the United States. Venezuela, I don't know that Maduro is doing a great job of making it look like they're looking to work with a lot of folks. I think that he is maybe gonna take a full-on closed Japan approach at this point. Where he's heading, his bombs are getting his boats are getting bombed by us in the middle of the sea, as we all saw the White House tweet out. I thought that was badass, but I don't think that we should be doing it on the regular or posting about it. Admittedly, you guys gotta go with some listen. Some of what the White House puts out there is ridiculous and so far out there. We are borderline. We are living in parody, and if you do not laugh at it, you are a psychopath, because this is the promise that I promise will happen. You will die laughing. This country can only end with you dying laughing, because it will end with a way that you will go, how could this happen? No way. No possible way we let ourselves collapse over this. I do not see Trump being our end. I don't see this MAGA movement being our end. I think America's stronger than that. I believe in it. And if you don't believe in that, you're abandoning your country, and I think that is a disgusting behavior. I think that's treasonous, and I think that's the real anti-American slander that we got to worry about. Not whatever you guys are trying to paint as, like, whether you think it's the radical left or the radical right. The radical anti-Americans, the ones who want to split up, the ones who are looking for any excuse to pin anything on anybody. Oh, that shooter had your identity and narrative. That shooter was your person. Everybody looking to do that is actively pressing for this country to fall apart. And I'm disgusted with each and every one of them. Anyways, let's do our final story, guys, and then I don't want to waste any more of your time. Concerning rise in antibiotic-resistant infections in hospitals worldwide. How delightfully terrible. This is awful. This is not fun, but it's perfect for spooky month because it gives every hypochondriac a reason to worry. Do you feel that? It's the fear creeping into your mind. It's the fear creeping into your soul that this has already fallen into your bloodstream. Today, we're sounding the alarm on a silent global crisis. The surge in antibiotic-resistant infections hitting hospitals hard, as laid out in the the World Health Organization's bombshell Global Antibiotic Resistance Surveillance Report 2025, released October 13th. Drawing from over 23 million confirmed cases around and across 104 countries, it paints a dire picture of, quote, superbugs outpacing our defense, turning routine hospital stays into life or death gambles. The numbers are stark. In 2023, 1 in 6 lab-confirmed bacterial infections, think bloodstream, urinary tract, gut, and sexually transmitted ones, resisted standard antibiotics, up sharply from 2018 levels. More than 40% of key antibiotics have lost punch against common bugs like E. coli and Klebsiella pneumonia, essentially, with resistance spiking over 40% of analyzed pathogen drug combos. Globally, this fuels over 1 million direct deaths a year, plus nearly 5 million more tied to complications, with projections warning of a 70% jump in AMR fatalities by 2050. Guys, this is interesting. This is key. This is serious. You should keep an eye out. Don't go to hospitals. I'm just kidding. I mean, that's like what I would do. I'm just kidding. I would never encourage not going to the hospitals. I trust Western medicine, not always. I don't trust Western medicine at all, but, you should if you trust it. But, do your own research. That's what I encourage. Hospitals are ground zero, especially for gram-negative bacteria-deriving severe cases. In Africa, resistance tops 70% for bloodstream infection treatments. In Southeast Asia and the Eastern Mediterranean, 1 in 3 infections laughs off the drugs, double the world average, and triple Europe's. Middle-income countries shoulder the heaviest load, with an estimated 119 million hospital-acquired resistant infections annually. So people are getting sick in hospitals. So this is not like you are going to most of the time you're getting it at home and then whatever. You're getting it in the hospital. Okay, so I've heard about this fungal one that was going around earlier this year. No, that was like a few years. I think this was a few years ago. The one fungus that was going around and it's resistant to everything. Like you can't kill it. But that one was a terrifying one that we got to look out for. Anyways, fueled by overuse in the COVID era care, by the way, and spotty infection controls. But that's how most of this sparked up. Blame it on a toxic mix. Overprescribing antibiotics for viral ills, not finishing courses, weak sanitation in low source spots, and a barren pipeline for new drugs. Big Pharma's bailed due to slim profits. Excuse me. The report spotlights 8 nasty pathogens from Acinetobacter to gonorrhea Neisseria. That's not very fun. With 54% of Actinobacter. Acinetobacter bloodstream cases, shrugging off last resort carbapenems. I'm getting it, you guys. I'm getting it. I'm sorry. I'll get better. On the upside, or at least the action front, WHO's urging a crackdown, shift 70% of use to safer, quote, access antibiotics by 2030, ramp up surveillance via the GLASS system, and invest in diagnostics, vaccines, and next-gen meds. Experts like Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, I'm getting it, I'm getting better, warn that, quote, outpaces modern medicine, but with responsible prescribing and global stewardship, we might dodge a post-antibiotic era. It would be crazy if we entered an era where, like, they just don't work anymore. antibiotics, all of these sorts of things. I can't remember the last time I've ever taken an antibiotic. I'm going to be honest with you. I generally don't get infections, thankfully enough. I hope that keeps true. I'm not going to jinx myself. Knock on wood. There we go. Anyways, I try to keep as healthy as possible, but I'm terrified of the idea of going to a hospital expecting to get healthier, and then I somehow end up even worse, or I end up dying. That's the urgent scoop on the hospital horror show, folks. A wake-up call to use antibiotics wisely before they stop working for good. Just stay tuned for more. And with that, I'm gonna stop terrifying you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop right now because I think we've covered plenty of today's news. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna serve you guys this episode hot and fresh out the kitchen, as R. Kelly would say. That free R. Kelly. I don't know. I'd love to see him in the studio again. What did he even do? You tell me. Anyways, I would love if you would subscribe if you enjoyed today's episode. I'm glad that you were here. You didn't have to stick around for this long, but you did. And I appreciate that you wanted to get news from me today, or that you wanted to stick around just to hear my voice. I appreciate it. I love all of you. Appreciate your time. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. We're going to be back at it again Wednesday, so subscribe if you enjoyed it. In the meantime, I've been Ollie Vogt Larson, and this has been your Brain on Air. Thank you so much for listening, and bye-bye.